Hey guys, I'm Bhavya. In this video, I will discuss the day 1 problems of code drift on 2 pointers. So let's look at the very easy problem, the first problem. Given an integer array A consisting of distinct elements, you are asked to create a lexicographically largest array S equal to X plus reverse Y, such that it satisfies the following conditions. Length of S is less than equal to length of A, and X is the prefix array of A, and Y is the suffix array of A. X or Y can be empty as well. Length of A is less than equal to 10 to the power 5 and AI is less than equal to 10 to the power 9. So for the first case, 4, 1, 3, 2, we can choose X as 4 and Y as 1, 3, 2. Now reverse Y will be 2, 3, 1. So X plus reverse Y will be 4, 2, 3, 1. Similarly, in the second case, 10, 20, 30, 40, we can choose X as an empty array and Y as 10, 20, 30, 40, which is a suffix. So X plus reverse Y will be 40, 30, 20, 10, which is the lexicographically maximum array. So let's look at the solution approach. Now let's actually take an example. So we have 5, 3, 2, 1, 4. So this is our array. So first thing to observe is, since we want the lexicographically largest array, and we will place some prefix and reverse of some suffix. So if we consider reverse of some suffix, the first element will be 4 in that, right? The first element will be 4 in that. Now we want the bigger elements to appear in the initial positions. So we can actually take the elements greedily. So if our element is greater than or equal to 4, we will keep taking the elements. Since the array only has distinct elements, we don't have to actually care about equal. So if our elements is greater than 4, we will keep taking the prefix. So we'll take 5. Now 3 is actually lesser. So it will be better to place the reverse of a suffix, because if we place a reverse of a suffix, we will get 4 here. And if we keep taking the prefix, we will get 3 here. So it will be better to choose 5 as X and we can choose Y as some suffix. No matter what suffix we choose, we will get 4 here, which will be better than choosing X as 5, 3, right? So that actually gives us a greedy algorithm that we will keep taking the first elements if it is greater than the last element. So for example, the last element is 4. Now 5 is greater than 4, so we'll take it. But now 3 is not greater than 4. So now we will take a suffix and reverse it. So it will have 4. Now is it beneficial to take 1? So we can also take 1 as well. So instead of saying that we are reversing the suffix, we can say that we are taking elements from last. Now as you can see that 5, 4, 1 will be lexicographically greater than 5, 4. So it will be better to take 1 as well. So 5, 4, 1, and similarly we can take 2 as well. So 5, 4, 1, 2 and 3. So from this you can observe that our algorithm is, as long as the prefix contains element greater than the last element, we will keep taking it, and finally we will take the remaining elements in reverse order. So let's actually see one more example. So let's say in that case our array was 3, 5, 4, 1, 2, right? Now 3 is greater than 2, so we'll take 3. Again 5 is greater than 2, so we'll take 5. Again 4 is greater than 2, so we'll take 4. But now 1 is not greater than 2, so we'll now take the suffix, and so we are left with only 2 elements, so we'll place them in reverse order, that is 2, 1. So this is the lexicographically largest array which we can get. So we can just keep one pointer and keep checking if it is less than the last element. So let's actually look at the implementation. So we initialize n as the size of the array. Now left pointer is 0, that means it points to the leftmost element. So we'll keep taking elements from the left as long as it is greater than the last element. So answer is the answer which is the lexicographically largest array. Now while L is less than n, if AL is less than AN minus 1, that is our left element is smaller, so we'll break because we are done taking all the greater elements. Otherwise we'll just take AL, since AL is greater than AN minus 1, and after taking AL we will increment our left pointer. Finally we'll just take all the elements from n minus 1 to L and append it to our answer, and we will return our answer. So what will be the time complexity? So since we are taking each element at most once, so time complexity will be O of n, because our left pointer can be n in the worst case, so which will be O of n. So let's move to the next problem, medium problem. Rishabh and Ojas are on a mission. There is a bomb which they want to defuse, but the problem is they have to solve a task first, which is very difficult for them. As you are their friend, they ask you to solve the problem for them. Given an integer array A containing n integers, you need to find the number of scalar subarrays in A. A subarray is called scalar subarray if there are exactly B elements in the subarray which occur at least 2 times. So we need to find the number of subarrays which contain exactly B elements which occur at least 2 times. So n is less than equal to 10 to the power 5, AI is less than equal to 1000, and B is less than equal to n. So for the first case, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, there are only 2 scalar subarrays, A 0 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So 1 and 2 have occurrence greater than 2, greater than or equal to 2 rather. So there are exactly 2 elements which have occurrence, which have at least 2 occurrence. Similarly, A 1 to 5 will have 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 2 and 3 have at least occurrence 2. So there are exactly 2 elements which have at least 2 occurrences. So let's look at the solution approach using the same example. So we'll take the same example, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is our array. And B is 2. That is, we want exactly 2 occurrence. So the first thing to observe is, we can actually get rid of this exact thing. Let's say FB finds the number of subarrays which have at most B occurrences of elements which occur at least twice. So now our answer will be f of B minus f of B minus 1. So here there are at most B elements. Here there are at most B minus 1 element. So their difference will contain the subarrays which contain exactly B elements which occur at least twice. So now that we have changed our question, so now our question is, we need to find the number of subarrays which contain at most B occurrences of elements which occur at least twice. So that might sound confusing. So actually, let's look at some example. So now we need to find f of b minus f of a and f of b minus f of b minus 1. So we need to find f of 2 minus f of 1. So let's actually call the elements whose frequency is at least 2 special elements. So now this will contain subarrays which have at most 2 special elements. This will contain subarrays which have at most 1 special element. So we will use a technique called 2 pointers. Now the idea this technique can be used is because for each left pointer L, we'll find the rightmost pointer such that the subarray L to R contains at most B special elements, right? Because if the subarray L to R contains at most B special elements, the subarray L to R minus 1 will definitely contain at most B special elements, since we have actually reduced one element. So if the subarray L to R is a valid subarray, the subarray L to all the subarrays from L to X says that X is between L to R will be special. Now one more thing is, if L to R contains at most B special elements, then the subarray L plus 1 to R will also contain at most B special elements, because we have actually removed some element. So it will definitely decrease some frequency. So we won't have more elements which occur at least twice. So that actually gives us idea for 2 pointers. So as we increase our left pointer, our right pointer will definitely not decrease. So it is non-decreasing. Right pointer is non-decreasing. It can increase, but it won't decrease. So now let's actually look at this idea on this example. So we need to find f of 2 and then f of 1. So let's first find f of 2. That is, there will be at most 2 special elements, and special elements are elements whose frequency is at most 2. So let's actually consider zero indexed array. So we have 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Currently the left pointer is at 1, and let's say right pointer is minus 1, and it is zero index. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right pointer is initially previous. So this is L and this is R. Now we are actually checking if we can take R plus 1th element or not. Let's actually keep a variable occurrence which is initially 0, which keeps the count of number of special elements, and let's actually store the frequencies of elements as well. So f will store the frequencies of elements as well. So currently we only have 3 elements, so let's say it will store the frequencies of 1, 2 and 3. Now first we'll check if we can actually take R plus 1th element or not. So if by taking R plus 1th element, the number of occurrences of special elements exceeds 2, because we are actually finding f of 2 now. So it should not exceed 2. So since the number of occurrences of special elements is 0, we can actually take the R plus 1th element. So we'll increment our R or right pointer. So now right pointer points here. Also will increase the frequency of 1 as 1. Now OCC will still be 0, because there are 0 elements whose frequency is at least 2. As soon as the frequency of any element becomes equal to 2, we will increment occurrence by 1. Now we want to check if we can take the next element, which is 2. So since the frequency of 2 is currently 0, we can actually take 2, because taking 2 won't change the value of occurrence, and we want that the value of occurrence should not exceed 2, because 2 is the maximum limit, because we are finding f of 2. So we can actually take f of 2 as well. So we'll increment our right pointer now, and also we will increment the frequency of 2 as well, because currently now the frequency of 2 is 1. Now similarly we can again increment our right pointer, since element 3 has frequency 0, so this will be now 1. Now again we can increment our right pointer, because it increases the frequency of 1 to 2. So now the frequency of 1 is 2, and the number of occurrences will be 1, because there is at least one element whose frequency is at least 2. So there is one special element. Now again we can increment our right pointer, because it will make the frequency of 2 and increment the number of occurrences to 2. So we can have actually 2 special elements. So it is fine to increment the right pointer. So now the frequency of 2 will be 2 and the number of occurrences will be 2. But now notice that we cannot increment our right pointer further, because if we increment our right pointer further, the frequency of 3 will be 2 and the number of occurrences will be 3 now. And we know that the number of occurrences cannot exceed 2. So this is the maximum right value which we can get. So now one thing you can notice is the subarray 0 to 4 is good. That is, it satisfies the condition that there are at most B occurrences. So if the subarray 0 to 4 is good, any subarray from, let's say, 0 to 0, 0 to 1, 0 to 2, 0 to 3 and 0 to 4, all of them will be good. So we will add 4 minus 0 plus 1, that is 5, to our answer. We need to find f of 2, so currently f of 2 is 5. Now we will, since we have processed this current L, we will increment our L. So now we've incremented our L, and now we need to remove the contribution of this one. So we'll reduce the frequency of 1, and since the frequency of 1 is 1 now, so the number of special elements will also decrease. So now let's see if we can increment our right pointer. So if we increment our right pointer, the frequency of 3 will become 2 and the number of occurrences will be 2 now, which is fine because the number of occurrences can be at most 2. So we can actually move our right pointer here. So now the occurrences of 3 will be 2 and this will be 2 as well. So after processing this, we will add 5 minus 1 plus 1, that is 5 to our answer. So answer will be 10 now. Now we will increment our left pointer and then decrease the frequency of 2. So the frequency of 2 will be 1 now. Also this will decrease the occurrence value to 1. Now notice that we cannot actually increment our right pointer because it will take us to outside of this array. So we'll just simply add 5 minus 2 plus 1, that is 4, to our answer. So answer will be 14 now. And now let's increment our left pointer. So that this decreases the frequency of 3 to 1 as well. So now the number of occurrences will be 0. Occurrences of special elements, that is elements whose frequency is at least 2. Again, we will add 5 minus 3 plus 1, that is 3 to our answer. So answer will be 17 now. Since we cannot increment our right pointer, so we are done. And now we'll increment our left pointer. Again, we cannot increment our right pointer, so we'll add 5 minus 4 plus 1, that is 2 to our answer. So answer will be 19. And then increment our left pointer. Now similarly, we will simply add 5 minus 5 plus 1, that is 1 to our answer. So answer will be 20. And we have completely processed the array. So f of 2 will return 20. That is, there are 20 subarrays which have at most 2 special elements. That is, elements whose frequency is at least 2. So now we will find f of 1 and subtract them, which will be our answer. So let's find f of 1. So we will again set r as minus 1, and the frequencies of all the elements will be 0 initially. 0, 0, 0, and answer is also 0. So currently left pointer is at 1 and right pointer is at minus 1. So we can actually take r plus 1 value, that is 0th value, because that will increase the frequency of 1 to 1 but won't change the occurrences and won't exceed it than 1, right? So this will be 1, the frequency of 1 will be 1 and occurrence will be 0. Again, can we further increase our right pointer? We can actually. So we'll increment our right pointer and increment the frequency of 2 as 1. Similarly, then this will not change the occurrence. Similarly, we'll move to the next pointer and increment the frequency of 3 as 1. And this won't change the occurrences. Now we will increment our right pointer and change the frequency of 1 as 2, and this will actually change occurrence to 1. But now we cannot actually increment our right pointer, since it will increase the frequency of 2 to 2 and increment the number of occurrences to 2. And we can have at most 1 occurrences of special elements. So the rightmost pointer for 0 is 3. So we'll simply add 3 minus 0 plus 1, that is 4 to our answer. Now we will increment our left pointer and decrease the frequency of 1 as 1 and change this occurrence to 0, because now we have 0 elements whose frequency is greater than or equal to 2. Now can we increment our right pointer? We actually can. So we'll increment our right pointer and change the frequency of 2 to 2, and this will increment occurrence to 1. Can we further increase our right pointer? We cannot actually, because the frequency of 3 is 1 currently, and if we increment our right pointer, frequency of 3 will become 2, and this will increment the number of occurrences to 2. So we will simply add 4 minus 1 plus 1, that is 4 to our answer. So answer becomes 8, and we will increment our left pointer. So after incrementing our left pointer, we will decrease the frequency of 2. So the frequency of 2 will become 1, and this will decrease the number of occurrences to 0. So now can we actually increment our right pointer? We actually can. So we'll increment our right pointer, which will increase the frequency of 3 to 2. And this will increment the number of occurrences to 1. But now, since we are at the last element, we cannot increment our right pointer further. So we'll simply add 5 minus 2 plus 1, that is 4 to our answers. So this will be 12. Now we will increment our left pointer, and this will actually decrease the frequency of 3 to 1 and decrease the occurrence to 0. Because we have 0 occurrences of elements whose frequency is at least 2. So now we cannot increment our right pointer. So we'll simply add 5 minus 3 plus 1, that is 3 to our answer. So this will be 15. So we'll increment our left pointer and decrease the frequency of 1. So which will be 0 now. Now we will simply add 5 minus 4 plus 1, that is 2 to our answer. So this will be 17. And then we will increment our left pointer and decrease the frequency of 2 to 0. So again, we will simply add 5 minus 5 plus 1, that is 1 to our answer, which will make the answer as 18. So now we are done. So f of 2 is 20 and f of 1 is 18. So our answer will be 20 minus 18, that is 2. So we'll simply return 2 as our answer. So let's actually look at how to implement this. Good thing about 2 pointers is that you can actually use the same implementation for almost all 2 pointers problem. You can actually kind of follow standard template for solving these problems. So we know that answer is f of b minus f of b minus 1. So we simply need to find f of b. So let's find f of b. So we initialize n as the size of the array. Answer is 0. So count occurrence actually stores the frequency of all the elements. Now occurrence is the count of special elements, that is elements whose frequency is at least 2. We initialize r as minus 1. Now our left pointer will go from 0 to n. So I actually denotes the movement of left pointer. Now while r plus 1 is less than n, that is r plus 1th element exists in the array. It is not outside the array. Now we need to check if we can actually take the r plus 1th element or not. So when can't we take the r plus 1th element? When it increases the number of occurrences more than b, right? So when will the number of occurrences will be more than b? If the frequency of the element which we are taking is equal to 1. So if we take the element, the frequency will be equal to 2. So this will change the number, this occurrence value. This will increment the occurrences value by 1. So if our current occurrence value is b, it will be b plus 1 now if we take this element. So this is a case where we cannot actually take the r plus 1th element and we will break it. Otherwise, we will increment r and increment the frequency of ar. If the frequency is equal to 2, we increment the occurrences, because now we have one more special element, and we simply add r minus I plus 1 to our answer. Now after processing it, we increment our left pointer. So we decrement the frequency of the ith element. And if this frequency actually becomes equal to 1, that is it was 2, now it is 1. So this actually decreases the number of elements whose frequency is at least 2. So now we will decrement our occurrence variable and we will simply return the answer. So I hope this was clear to you. Thank you for watching this video. In this video, I will discuss the easy problem and the hard problem of code drift 2 pointers. So let's look at the easy problem. You are given an integer array containing n integers. You can remove at most one subarray from it such that the remaining elements must occur at most 2 times. Find the minimum size of this subarray you need to remove such that the remaining elements must occur for at most 2 times. So n is less than equal to 10 to the power 5 and ai is less than equal to 10 to the power 9. So for example, if a is 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, then we can remove the subarray 2, 2, 3 and we will get 1, 1, 2, 2. And in this array 1, 1, 2, 2, no element occurs more than 2 times. So the answer will be 2. The minimum length subarray will be 2. Obviously, an answer will exist because we can delete the entire array and get an answer. So let's look at the solution approach. Now, let's actually take the same example 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. So one thing you can notice is let's first keep a variable occurrence which finds the initial number of elements whose frequency is greater than 2. So for example, in this case, there are 2 elements whose frequency is greater than 2. We can actually find those elements by, let's say, keeping a frequency array. And when the frequency becomes equal to 3. So we know that when the frequency becomes equal to 3, we can increase our count because it went from 2 to 3. So there are occurrence plus 1 elements now whose frequency is greater than 2. So if this variable occurrence is equal to 0, if this is equal to 0, it means that there are no elements such that they have a frequency which is greater than 2. Then we can simply return that the answer is 0 because we don't have to delete any subarray. Otherwise, we need to find a subarray of minimum length such that if we delete it, there is no elements whose frequency is greater than 2. So since we need to delete a subarray, let's say we will keep a frequency as well. So this is the frequency array. The frequency of 1 is 2 and the frequency of the frequency of 1 is 3 and the frequency of 2 is also 3. So since we are deleting a subarray, we know that a subarray will be of like L2R. It will have a left range and a right range. So we can actually iterate over all the possible values of L. But now we also need to find R. So how do we do that? Actually, it turns out that we can do that using 2 pointers because L2R represents the deleted range. So for example, if we found the R for a given L and we need to find the R for L plus 1, how do we find that R? That means we need to find the R dash such that if we delete L plus 1 to R dash, we get a subarray in which no element has occurrence greater than 2. So one thing you can notice is that R dash will be greater than or equal to R. That is, the right pointer will be non-decreasing. So if it is non-decreasing, then we know that our right pointer can increase at most n times, and in which case the complexity will be On. But how do we actually prove that the right pointer will definitely increase? So we know that if we delete the element L to R, no element has frequency greater than 2. Now consider L plus 1 to R. So we have added the element AL. Since we have added the element AL, if the frequency of AL becomes greater than 2, that means we need to increase our right range because we need to delete some elements until we reach AL because the frequency of AL is greater than 2 now. Otherwise, the frequency of AL is still less than 2, less than or equal to 2. That means there are no elements whose frequency is greater than 2 in L plus 1 to R. And in that case, our right end will stay same. So our right end can either increase or stay same. So that is the idea of 2 pointers. So let's actually try this in this example to understand it more clearly. So we first store the frequency of 1 and 2, which will be 3 and 3 initially. Now we assign right index is -1. So our right index is currently pointing here. And this is our current, let's say right pointer is face downwards and this is our current left pointer. Now occurrence stores the initial numbers whose frequency is greater than 2. So we'll try to include the next element R plus 1 at 0th index. That means we'll try to delete it until the occurrence becomes equal to 0. So if we delete this, R comes here and the frequency of 1 becomes 2. So since the frequency of 1 becomes 2 now, we will decrease the occurrences as 1 because there is only one element whose frequency is greater than 2. But still, we want occurrence to be 0, this variable OCC to be 0, so we'll further increase our right pointer. So we will move here and decrease the frequency of 1 as 1. Now notice that the frequency of occurrence will remain 1 because it moved from 2 to 1. So if the frequency moved from 2 to 1, then it was obvious that we haven't considered its value in this occurrence variable. So again, we'll try to increment our right pointer. So this frequency becomes equal to 0, but we don't update the occurrence value. Again, we move our right pointer and decrease the frequency of 2 as 2 and this occurrence becomes equal to 0. So now since the occurrence is equal to 0, we stop for this left pointer because for the first left pointer we have found the right pointer such that if we delete this subarray, we get no element whose frequency is greater than 2. So for L equal to 0, we get R as 3. So we'll simply update 3 minus 0 plus 1 as one of our answers. So initially let's say we set answer to N, which is 6 in this case. So we'll update our answer as 4. Now we will increment our left pointer. So if we increment our left pointer, that means we have added this element because we deleted the elements from 0 to 3. If we move from 0 to 3 to 1 to 3, that means we added the A0th element. So we'll increase the frequency of 1, which we added again. So the frequency of 1 becomes 1 now. Still the occurrence is 0. So we'll update our answer as 1 minus 3 minus 1 plus 1. because L is 1 and R is 3. So we'll update this as 3. Answer will be 3 now. Again, we will increment our left pointer and increase the frequency of 1 to 2. Still the variable occurrence will be 0 now because no element is frequency greater than 2. So we'll update our answer as 3 minus 2 plus 1, which will be 2. So we'll update our answer as 2. Now we move to this element. So now the frequency of 1 becomes equal to 3, and so we update our occurrence variable as 1. Now we will increment our right pointer until the occurrence becomes equal to 0 or we reach the end of the array. So we increment our right pointer, the frequency of 2 becomes equal to 1. Again we increment our right pointer, the frequency of 2 becomes equal to 0. And now we cannot further increase the right pointer. Now notice that the value of occurrence is not equal to 0. So we won't update our answer because we want the value of occurrence to be equal to 0. So again we increment our left pointer and that increases the frequency of 2 to 1. Now we cannot actually increment our right pointer. So we have to check if the frequency is equal to 0, occurrence is equal to 0, and which is not the case. So we won't update our answer and increment the right pointer. So now the frequency of 2 becomes equal to 2, but still we cannot move right pointer and neither the occurrence value is 0. So we won't update our answer. So we can finally return 2 as our answer. So let's look at the code to understand it more clearly. So we initialize occurrence as 0. Occurrence stores the number of elements whose frequency is greater than 2. N is the size of the array. Count occurrence stores the frequency. So we iterate over all the elements and increment the frequency. If the frequency is equal to 3, we increment our count. Now if occurrence is equal to 0, simply return 0 because there are no elements whose frequency is greater than 2. Otherwise we set right as -1 and initialize answer as n. Now our left pointer ranges from 0 to n, so we iterate from I equal to 0 to n. Now we'll check if we can take the next element. So if r plus 1 is equal to n and the value of occurrence is still not 0, we increment r. So we decrease the frequency of ar. And if the frequency becomes equal to 2, that means it was 3 before and it becomes equal to 2. So we have decremented the number of elements whose frequency is greater than 2. So we decrement occurrence variable. If occurrence is equal to 0 after this, we'll update our answer as r minus I plus 1. Otherwise, we increment the frequency of ai. If the frequency of ai becomes equal to 3, it was 2 previously and it now became 3 after incrementing here. So we will increment the occurrence variable and so we'll finally return answer. So what about the time complexity? We know that the left pointer will increment at most O(n) times. Similarly, the right pointer will also increment O(n) times. So the time complexity will be O of n. But if let's say you're also keeping a map to store frequencies, and we know that insertion and checking works in n log n in map, log n in map. So the map will cost n log n. So total time complexity will be n log n. Also, you could use, let's say, a hash map to reduce this to O(n). So let's look at the next problem, hard problem. You are given an array A of size n. A subarray AL to R contains all the elements AL, AL plus 1 and so on up till AR. A subarray AL to R is called a scalar subarray if maximum of AL to R and AL plus AR are congruent modulo B. Here max AL R is the maximum value of this subarray. So two elements A and B are congruent modulo n if their remainder with respect to n are same. So we need to find the total number of scalar subarrays. Since the answer can be large, return it modulo 10 to 9 plus 7. So for example, consider this array 8, 7 and B is 4. So we know that the subarray 8 is scalar because maximum of 8 is 8 and AL plus AR will be 16 and 8 and 16 are congruent modulo 4 because their remainders with respect to 4 are 0. So let's look at the solution approach. We will use the same, the second example to explain 4, 5, 3, 8, 8 and B is 5. So we have this array 4, 5, 3, 8, 8 and B is 5. Now the first thing to notice is we want that maximum of AL to R, this is congruent to AL plus AR mod B. Now the idea is that we can actually use divide and conquer to solve this problem because we need to find the total number of scalar subarrays. So if we have an array, we will divide it into two parts, the left part and the right part, and we will find the number of scalar subarrays in the left part, number of scalar subarrays in the right part, add them, but we also need to, this is the divide part. And that's actually easy because we can simply do it using recursion. Now the important part is conquered part. That is, we need to find the scalar subarrays of which a prefix lies in the left part and the suffix lies in the right part. That means the subarray has a prefix which is a suffix of the left part and the subarray has a suffix which is a prefix of the right part. Something like this, the shaded region. So we need to find such subarrays. And for that, we will use 2 pointers. So we have an array and this partition. Now we want that there is some left part and there is some right part and we need to find the number of subarrays is that the maximum in this range is congruent to AL plus AR modulo B. Now what we will do is, we will first assume that the maximum lies in the left part and then the maximum lies in the right part. For the case where it can lie both, so we can also have duplicates. So to counter that, we will consider the first occurrence of a value as maximum. So for example, if we have 2, 1, 2, this array, then we will count this occurrence of 2 as a maximum. The first occurrence of an element we will consider the maximum. So we will first consider that the maximum lies in the left part. So if the maximum lies in the left part, let's say we are at this index L. Now the current maximum value is mx. This is the left part, and now consider the right part. So we know that we can only move up till some index r such that all the values from here to here will be less than or equal to r, because we want the maximum to lie in the left part. We have less than equal to because we consider the first occurrence as maximum. So can we use 2-pointer to find that index? So what I mean by that is, let's actually look at this example to understand it clearly. So if we have this array 4, 5, 3, 8, 8. Now we will divide it into two parts, that is 4, 5, 3 and 8, 8. Now let's say the maximum occurs in the left part. So if the maximum occurs in the left part, what we will do is, let's say we have considered the L is this index. So if this is the L index, we'll find the rightmost element which can be the right index. So in this case, we cannot have any element here because we want 5 to be maximum. So if we take any element, 8 will become maximum when we want 5 to be maximum. So for this example, let's take a different case. So we have 4, 3, 5, 3, 6 and 4, 3, 7. So for 6, our current maximum is 6. Now we know that 4 is less than equal to 6, so we can increment a right pointer. Again, 3 is less than equal to 6, so we can increment a right pointer. But now we actually cannot take 7 since 7 is greater than 6. So for this index, we have this element which can be the rightmost index. Now if we move here, so we move to this left index. Now our current maximum is still 6. Let's say this was 8. Our current maximum is still 6. So we cannot actually further increment a right pointer because 7 is greater than 6. Again, we move to the left index and now our maximum becomes equal to 8. So now we can actually increment a right pointer since 7 is less than equal to 8. So we increment a right pointer. So for each left index, we find the maximum right index such that the maximum from L to R will be in the left part. And we know that that right index will be monotonic. So maximum actually is non-decreasing in this direction. So consider this case that if we are moving over left index and now we know the maximum value, right? Maximum value is mx and we also know AL. We also know AL. So from this equation, we can actually find AR modulo B. So we know that AR will be equal to AL minus mx mod B. So if we store the frequency of elements in the right index modulo B, we can actually find how many choices we have for AR, because we know that this is our left part and this is our right part. And from here to here, this is the maximum right index that we can have. So we just need to find the frequency of AL minus mx modulo B. So we'll store the array elements modulo B here and find their frequency. So this may sound complex. So let's actually dry run this on our example to understand it more clearly. So B was 5 in our case. So we'll store the frequencies of elements modulo 5. Now this is our first divide part. Now again, we will divide it into two parts, 4, 5 and 3. Now for subarrays of length 1, we can simply check if maximum will be 3 only, and we can simply check if 3 is congruent to 3 plus 3, which is 6 modulo 5. And we know that that's not congruent modulo 5 because 3 modulo 5 is 3 and 6 modulo 5 is 1. So this is not congruent modulo 5. So we'll return 0 from here. Return 0 from here. Now for 4, 5, we again divide it into two parts, 4 and 5. Now 4 plus 4 is not congruent modulo 4. So this returns 0, but this returns 1 because the maximum will be 5 and the left AL will be 5 and AR will also be 5. So 5 and 10 both have remainder 0 modulo 5. So this is a scalar subarray. Now for 4, 5, we need to consider the conquer part. So we first consider the case where the maximum lies on the left part. So we have 4 here. So current maximum value will be 4. Now we'll find if we can take the elements. So we'll consider this partition and we can take the elements from here. We know that we cannot take 5 because we want the elements, all the elements here to be less than equal to 4. In addition to that, we will also store the frequency of elements which we have taken in the right index. Currently, the frequency of all the elements will be 0. So what elements do we want in the right index? So maximum value is 4. AL is also 4. So AR will be 0 modulo 5. But the frequency of 0 is still 0. So we'll add 0 here. So this conquer part actually gives no answer. So we return 1 from here. Now this case actually gives us no answer. So we'll consider the case where the maximum lies in the right index. So if the maximum lies in the right index, we currently have maximum 5. Now what is the maximum index that we can take? So we'll move here and we can actually take this element 4. So we'll update the frequency of 4 modulo 5 as 1. So the frequency of 4 will be 1 now. So our current maximum is 5 and right element is also 5. So we want AL to be 0 modulo 5. We want AL to be 0 modulo 5. But the frequency of 0 is 0. So again, when we consider the case where the maximum lies in the right index, this also fails and we return 1 here because we have 1 as this answer in the right part. For the conquer part, we get 0 answer. So finally, we get 1 from here and 0 from here. So we return 1 here. Now consider 8, 8. Now for the 8, 8, we can divide it into two parts, 8 and 8. Now is the array of length 1 congruent? So maximum is 8 and AL plus AR will be 16. So are these congruent modulo 5? They are not, because 8 modulo 5 is 3 and 15 modulo 5 is 1. So we'll return 0 here and 0 here. Now for 8, 8, we will do the conquer part. So we first assume that the maximum lies in the left part. So we have 8, 8 and a partition here. So maximum lies in the left part. So our current maximum is 8 and we will try to increment our right pointer from here as long as the values are less than or equal to 8. So we know that we can actually move to this 8, right? Our right pointer can be here since this 8 is less than or equal to 8, and we'll update the frequency of 3 because we are storing the frequencies modulo 5. So the frequency of 3 will be 1. Now the maximum is 8 and the left value is also 8. So AR should be 0 modulo 5, but the frequency of 0 modulo 5 is 0. And similarly, if you consider the case where right element is maximum, so right element is maximum. So now we actually cannot move our left pointer because we want the elements to be lesser than 8. Since if it is equal to 8, then this won't be maximum because we are considering the first occurrence of an element as maximum. So this also returns 0 here. Now consider the conquer part for the complete array. And this will actually give us a good understanding of how is divide and conquer working. So we have 4, 5, 3 and 8, 8. So let's say we have a partition here. Now we'll first consider the case where the maximum lies in the left part. So we start from here. Our current maximum is 3. Now we will see how much can we move our right pointer. So we cannot move our right pointer because the maximum is 3 now, and if we want the elements to be less than or equal to 3. So we move left and we get 5. So maximum will be 5, but again we cannot increment our right pointer. So we move left and maximum is still 5. So again we cannot increment our this pointer. So now we will consider the case where the maximum lies in the right part. So our current maximum is 8. Now we will try to move our left pointer. So we can move our pointer here. So we'll update the frequency of 3 modulo 5, which is 3 as 1. So we update the frequency of 3 as 1. Again, we can decrement our left pointer. So we update the frequency of 5 modulo 5, which is 0 as 1 as well. Again, we can further decrement it. So we update the frequency of 4 modulo 5, which is 4 as 1. So now for this R, we get maximum value is 8 and AR is also 8, and we need to find AL. So this is our relation modulo 5. So AR will be 0 modulo 5. AL will be 0 modulo 5. So we have actually stored the values, the frequency of values modulo 5, and the frequency of 0 is 1. So we can add 1 to our current answer. Now again we will move our pointer here, but if we move our pointer here, the maximum stays the same and we cannot further decrement this pointer because we are at the end or the left end. So again we will find the condition of AL. Again the condition of AL is it should be 0 modulo 5. So the frequency of 0 is 1. So we'll add 2 here. So this conquer part gives us 2. So finally we will add 2 to this one and return 3 as our answer. So the basic idea is divide and conquer, and how we conquer actually can be done using 2 pointers. So let's look at the code to actually see how we can implement this and to understand the tiny implementation details. So we assign n as the size of the array. So AI is initially assigned to the array, and this is actually a global array, and B is also B, a global B. We also store an array ABI, which will store the elements modulo B, and we return scalar from 0 to n minus 1. So this is the divide and conquer part, scalar L to R. If L is equal R, what we want is the maximum will be equal to AL, and elements will be AL will be also AL and AR will be also AL. So we want this to be true modulo B. So in other words, we want that AL is equal to 0 modulo B. AL is equal to 0 modulo B. So we know that we have stored AI modulo B in array ABI. So we just simply want ABL to be equal to 0. So if this is equal to 0, we return 1. So we assign mid as L plus R by 2. Now we initialize our answer as, so this is the divide part, scalar L to mid and scalar mid plus 1 to R. So we assign maximum as minus 1. Index is actually the index of the maximum value, and we assign R as mid. So we first consider the case where the maximum lies in the left part. So we have L to mid and mid plus 1 to R. So we first initialize our right pointer as mid, that means to the left of this array. Now we will move from this in this direction. So we actually iterate over all the possible left indexes. So we initially assign maximum as minus 1. Now we move from mid to L. If AI is greater than maximum value, we update the maximum value, and we also update the index of the maximum value. So now let's say we are at ith index. This is our left index, ith index, and we have updated our maximum value. Now we want that while the next element to be taken, so R plus 1 is actually a valid index. That is, it is less than or equal to R, and the value at that index is, which is AR plus 1, this should be less than or equal to MX because we want the maximum to lie in the left part. So if this is the case, we increment our right pointer and we also update the frequency of that right element, but we do not change the frequency of AR. We actually update the frequency AR modulo B because that's what we want to find for our answer. So now our maximum value is actually AB IDX. So AB IDX is actually A IDX modulo B. So this should be equal to, now our left value is AI. So we can actually write it as A modulo I plus, now we have AR modulo B. So what is the remainder that we want? We want AB index minus ABI. If this is negative, we add B. So we simply want this frequency f of rem, and we add it to our answer. Now we can do the similar case for where the maximum lies in the right part. So if the maximum lies in the right part, we again actually set the frequencies to 0 because we want to reset it. So we again initialize maximum as -1, and now L will be mid plus 1. So our current L is here, and now we'll iterate over this index from here to here, right index. So right index can be from mid plus 1 to R, that is I from mid plus 1 to R. If AI is greater than mx, we update our maximum value index. Now, while the next element to be taken, that is L minus 1, is greater than equal to L, that is it is a valid index, and it is less than mx. Notice that we are now taking less than mx and not less than equal to mx. Since if it is equal to maximum value, then we will take the first maximum value because we are taking the first occurrence as a maximum value. Now we decrement the left index and take its contribution in our frequency, and we know that what should be our optimal value of the left index, and we will simply add the frequencies of that left index module B to our answer. We again reset the frequencies to 0 and we will return the answer. So now what will be the time complexity of this solution? So we have Tn equal to twice of Tn by 2, that is the divide part, and the conquer part is actually O of n, because we iterate over left indexes, and our right index will definitely either stay same or increase, that is it is non-decreasing. So the total number of movements of all the left indexes and the right indexes will be of the order n. So from here we can say that the time complexity will be O of n log n, and space complexity is O n, because since we are only storing some arrays. So it was actually a good problem to understand divide and conquer. I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching this video.